we grab it and go for it. So with my son reading lots of books about Roman mythology, we just said, okay, let's book a flight, and there we are. So
amazing.
We're really proud.
I know that.
That's the way to do it. Just get out there and experience the world, right? Yeah. Isn't it amazing? And Rome is amazing, absolutely. So lucky you, Justyna, and lucky me that I have you here and we have you here. So great to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and great to have everyone else here. We have
MB.
MB, hey, safe driving there.
Yeah, I'm part.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Hello.
And we have Javier. Great to see you, Javier.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you.
Hello.
Great to meet you.
Javier is part of our Planet Pilot adult team, kind of figuring out when we get to adulthood, how do we do this lifelong learning thing. So looking forward to that, Javier. And we have Diana. Hey, Diana. And Diana.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Diana. Both part of the Planet Pilot kind of children, the kids part of it, from around 7 to 15 years old. Maybe younger, maybe older. We'll see. We don't want to box anyone in, right? We want to open up and make things liquid and fluid and all that. And Diana is also playing a key role in coordinating on the sprint side. So you'll get to meet Diana a lot in the coming weeks, and you can look forward to that.
Yes, and I look forward to getting to know all of you, a lot of new faces, but very, very excited to be here and to be able to collaborate with all of you and make this happen. I've told Lars many times, I'm very excited that this is a great initiative, especially since I've been in the education industry before, but I've never had the opportunity to collaborate with like-minded people and really do this from a passion point of view, right? Where everybody is just doing this to really change the world, right? So very, very excited and looking forward to getting started.
Yes, we cannot wait for next week. Yeah. Good to have you, Diana. Also, a very warm welcome to Crystal, who's working very hard behind the scenes to plan a lot of what we are about to do. So, Crystal, thank you for being here.
Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me in this sprint. It's amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing because of the people, and
it hasn't even started yet.
Yes.
And it hasn't even started yet. Crystal is really
Just
deep
you wait.
in all the hard leg work, right? And it's already amazing at that level. So I think we can take this very far. Looking forward to it, above and beyond. So lovely to have you, Crystal. And it must be good evening, good kind of late evening for you, I think now.
Yes. 10 p.m. here. It's 10 p.m. Yeah.
Excellent. It must be late for Carmen as well. Hey, Carmen. Good to see you.
Hi there. Yes, it's a bit late. It's 11. I was actually dozing off. Lucky I set my alarm.
But you got your green screen up and ready, I can see. Lovely.
Yep.
Upgrading the home office, are we?
Yeah, I thought I'd make a little bit of a change so I have different times. You know, if I see the green screen, maybe it actually reminds me that I can be very bright and cheerful despite the coronavirus and everything.
Yes, stay safe there. Let's hope this will soon pass so we can kind of return to a better kind of normal state again. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah. So and for everybody, Carmen and I worked very closely together on a sprint in Bangkok very recently, as a matter of fact. So Carmen got to know the sprint methodology very well from the client side, and Carmen is back to dive even deeper, and that's exciting. And if you don't know Carmen yet, you definitely need to connect with Carmen.
I agree.
She has like 500 years of experience in anything. I have no idea how she does it, but she has.
Lars, Carmen and I are on the accelerated coach training with EXO Works at the moment together. And I felt the same thing. Like, this woman is just amazing. She's lived 500 lifetimes.
Yes.
Actually, you're one of the virtual people, right? I've never.
I am virtual.
You don't age.
Yes. I see all the call recordings. So.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's not easy. That's not easy.
I see you.
Yes. Excellent. Lovely to have you here, Carmen. And I'm sure we'll find a nice role for you in the sprint one way or another, or at least we just enjoy to have you here. So let's work that out. Looking forward to that, definitely. Great. And we have also Fabienne, and Fabienne is going to be one of our amazing coaches to help us to disrupt ourselves and the way we think about the future of education. So, hey, Fabienne, hope you can hear me.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how are you doing? How are you today?
I'm good, doing great. Happy to be here. Excited to start the sprint.
Yes, finally we are getting to the start line. Yeah. So, excellent. Fabienne is based in Mexico. I'm jealous of the weather. I'm sure. I don't know what the weather's like in Mexico today.
Pretty warm.
It's pretty warm. I figured that would be the case. It's raining here in Copenhagen as usual, so I'm jealous. Yes. So, but I look forward very much to your coaching, Fabienne, and I'm sure other teams will enjoy Fabienne's amazing coaching skills as well on this journey. And then we have Michael Schmidt. I've been working quite a bit with Michael recently on different interesting things. So excellent to have you on board, Michael.
Yes, good morning. I'm still trying to wake up because our day is a bit hectic always in the mornings with people going to work and kids going to school and so on. So I hope I can contribute to the call the way I want to. But I'm excited that the sprint is finally starting. I can't wait.
Yes, same here. Michael is starting a team, so he will be on the start line as well with an amazing lifelong learning kind of scope as well. So yeah, we are here for that reason, all of us. We need to figure out the future of education, and it's got to be related to lifelong learning, and that's what Michael has been working on for quite a while, and generated quite some governmental interest as well in Holland for this topic. So that's going to be super interesting. And all the best, Michael, for this journey. And going to be a lot of fun in the coming 10 weeks here.
Thank you, Lars, and everyone else.
Thank you. And also we have Sanjay. Hey, Sanjay, how are you doing?
Hello, Lars. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm recovering. I've got a bit of a chest infection, but otherwise I'm good.
Okay. Get well soon, Sanjay.
Thank you.
But I'm sure we'll lift the mood from where it has been to where it needs to be during this call. So yes. Excellent. Let's get started. But this is a community call, right? So this is about connecting with each other, and we have this awesome opportunity to have a chat. Let's keep it informal as always. I wanted to focus on this particular call, and we have about 50 minutes left. And by the way, I will be the timekeeper. With my time timer here. And then I need to do it, right? So there we go. I wanted to have a focus for this particular call on how do we create the best possible sprint experience for everyone. What have we learned in the past that we need to remember to apply here for this to be a high impact experience for everybody? So the outcome is going to be impactful, whatever that means for whoever is going to be benefiting from that impact, right? We don't know any of those answers, but we do know that we want to create an awesome sprint experience, and we want to do something with this sprint. We really want to bring something to the market, to all the students out there of all ages that need to grow up and go through life with a much better educational kind of paradigm, where they can seamlessly transition between what we used to call careers, right? Follow passion, do what really makes sense, do what's interesting. And by doing that, I think be of so much more value to society and to businesses and everybody, and have a much better life. So we have high ambitions with this sprint, as always, and we want to make sure that we support this journey the best possible way. So the big question here today is really, how do we create the best possible sprint experience, the most supportive environment for everybody who's been raising their hand and say, hey, I will be doing this sprint in a sprint team. And many of you here on the call. And so how do we do that? And I wanted to touch on what our learning experiences from last year's sprint, because I think there's a lot to learn from that. But also, let's keep an open mind here, and everybody please contribute with ideas and thoughts and anything. We can only learn, we can only do things even better, I hope, this time than last year. So I have invited two of my personal heroes to help contribute to this conversation and bring some perspectives from what happened last year and what could we take away from that experience. How can we make it better with any dimension that you can think of? And I want this, as always, to be open and honest. So I want to hear what doesn't work for you, what didn't work, and if there's something that worked really well, we want to continue to do. What is that, right? So I need your input on that. So I've invited Jabeen and Justyna, who are the two heroes that I'm talking about, of course. Two of my heroes, two of my many heroes. And it's been a while since I've seen Justyna and Jabeen, so it's for me, it's amazing. So let's get started. And we could start so many places, but maybe we want to talk about what we got out of last year's sprint, just to remind ourselves and get back into that part of the memory center in the brain. So maybe Jabeen, would you like to kick us off with some thoughts on what did we take away from last year's sprint? Any experiences?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's exponential. I don't know what to specifically focus on,
Yeah.
but what I would say is that from my experience of last year's sprint, and my role in this sprint this year is will be as a coach. But last year it was very different from the role that I'm about to play here. So I can share some perspectives on that aspect, because some of you are participants, some of you maybe, and some people are going to watch the recording after, and there'll be a variety of other types of perspectives and desired roles in this sprint. So there's a lot of different aspects to consider. I'll come back to that point in a second, but what I think from my experience of last year's sprint, I have to start by saying Lars and his team, they're so amazing. Every team that Lars puts together, and Lars himself as a sprint hero and superhero himself. You can put your trust in Lars. He creates a safe container, a safe space for your learning, for your growth. And I think it's really important that you, whatever role you're playing, set it an intention for what you want to get out of it and what you would like to contribute to it. Because like anything else in life, you get what you put into it. You get out of it what you put into it. And here, Lars is creating a container for exponential learning, and you'll be provided with the process, the safe space, the tools, the resources, the mindset shifts that you need to actually go out and make a difference in this area that you obviously have a passion for, or you wouldn't even be engaging in a forum like this. So you may have a lot of questions along the way, and obviously the coaches will be there to help, not just to answer your questions about maybe the methodology or a concept that you might not be too clear on, but also to ask you questions that will make you push yourselves and make you think deeply about what you're doing and consider other perspectives. And I don't want to go into a lot of detail and give away the process steps that Lars is going to take you through, but you know, it's important to set the intention and then consider not just yourself, but the context you're operating in, the different perspectives that are at play that you should consider to first determine if you're solving a problem that actually exists and is worth solving. And secondarily, what is your concept and solution about? What does it look like? And what are you trying to build? Based on validation from potential users, potential customers who may not be the same as the users, funders, etc., and potential people and stakeholder groups that could be impacted by your whatever enterprise you're creating here. And what barriers that might be put in your, what obstacles that you might have to overcome in bringing them on board or moving your idea through, or even pivoting and doing something different or abandoning the idea altogether. Whatever you go through, trust Lars, trust the process, you will come away with the most amazing experience ever. and we're here to hopefully help you to follow through and actually take that and have some real impact in the world of education and learning, lifelong learning.
Wow, Jabeen, I have no idea how to follow this. I think you just nailed it. If I could wish for anything, it would be this high-level perspective, really. And I hear myself saying to clients around the world, trust the process, right? We're doing something super difficult, which is to change our own behavior, our own way of thinking at things. And that's really what the process is about, is to break down that old paradigm and all the limitations we set for ourselves. And we allow ourselves to disrupt ourselves, to have others come and disrupt us, as uncomfortable as that is. But that is the way to start to think differently about things. And if we don't think differently about things, we'll never get new results. We'll never change anything. So that is really what this is about. And I take very much pride in actually how we create psychological safety. There's no one here interested in hammering you down or saying that this is ridiculous, because we don't know if this is going to be working or not. We have no idea. But you get all the brownie points, I guarantee you, for trying. and this is also part of the lifelong learning paradigm. I think we need to build a society where we are being rewarded for trying and being rewarded for taking that risk, and then you probably fail in the process. And that's perfect, because failure is the stepstone towards success. That's not the opposite of success. So we need to fail, and we are here to fail together, right? If that's the starting point, I think things will get very exciting when we also start to see the successes. So thank you very much, Jabeen, for setting the scene in this beautiful way. And you're right, there will be lots watching this recording coming from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of industries, and maybe with a professional approach to this, or maybe with a family perspective on this, that, you know, we have given up in the education system, you know, we have no alternative. Please, can I be part of creating that, right? And that's part of where I come from, and so many others in our community. So we are all on a burning platform, and that means that we will do this. And I think this sprint, at least, is the most powerful process I know to find out what it is we need to change, how we can change it, test it, and get a lot of people involved in that process, so we are not limited by our own immune system and our own limited view on the world, but we enjoy the collective intelligence and experience of all of you here, and many, many more. So looking forward to that. I want to go to Rome, so let's all go to Rome next, because that's where Justyna is. And also here, yeah, I'm so jealous. So we may hear a bit about Rome from Justyna now, but I also hope we hear just some of Justyna's key takeaways from the sprint that we did last year. And Justyna has been and is working on an absolutely amazing project. So maybe you can give us just a brief introduction to that as well, Justyna. And before we wrap today, I want to hear how things are going with the project as well. So Justyna, what if we start at a high level as well, what do you remember from the sprint last year that maybe is worth repeating, or maybe worth changing and do things differently?
Unmute
myself. Okay, I'm unmuted. Am I unmuted?
Now you're unmuted.
Actually, I will start by a little phrase about Rome, because I am in Rome and I've just seen a pyramid in Rome. Not a usual thing to look for when you're here. But then again, not many of us remember that it was the Roman Empire that put an end to the Egyptian one. And taking a new perspective on things, it's something that has really that has really been a thing that I took away from the sprint last year. A treasure that, as Jabeen said, that if you really invest yourself in the process, if you really trust a safe environment, you will come out with an amazing experience. And one of the facets of amazingness of these experiences may be that you start looking at things from a new perspective. As this is what happened to me in last year's sprint. I would not change a thing. I'm sorry, Lars. I will not be analytical enough to find a critique, because the process itself has been amazing. It has been enriching. It has been opening so many doors inside of my mind, inside of the minds of the people that were taking part actively in the process, that I will not find any single thing that I would change. What I would give a word of advice of how to invest yourself in it is to really give it yourself, go with the flow, and try to do your homework as as thoroughly as you can. Right now, we are a week before, a couple of days before the first real session. And I think it's a good occasion for those of you who have not yet read Samuel's book about exponential organizations to take an audiobook, to do it with in a couple of hours, and really understand what are the processes that we'll be talking about. What is exactly the terminology behind it? That will help a lot. I had to catch up with it during the process of the sprint, and that helped a lot. Allowing yourself to listen to others, not only the ones that are interested in your field, is also another one more thing that that I would advise participants to go for. Certainly that is something that enlarges your perspective. That's something that allows you to look at your own project from a different angle. And I'm looking at MB right now, and trust me that thinking of your musical environment had helped me look at my psychology / neuroscience perspective many times. So reaching out and trying to get other people that you know from within the community calls, which means from the EducateforLife community, is one thing. Actively seeking for people to invite to your own project is a thing to do, but also allowing others from the physical world to experience the amazingness of the platform created by Lars is also one thing that's really worked for me very well. As soon as I discovered, as soon as I really dived into the sprint, the process, and I had some ideas. Okay, this is someone that might be interested in contributing to the sprint. I was inviting people, and they were really both the people were happy about it, and the sprint progressed better. At least my group, my project was progressing better thanks to this proactiveness. But the most important lesson that I have learned, my personal most important lesson from last year, was that, Jabeen, you were mentioning, set your intention and work around it, and you will come out with an amazing project. But my lesson from last year is that even if you do not set your intention, or even if you see that your intention evolves, that might be even a more amazing thing to find out, because this is what happened to me last year. I have been participating in one of the already organized groups, and the group has not been very active. Although I try to motivate to bring some life into the project that the group was working on, it was not really proving very effective. And at some point I came up with my own idea, and then our amazing Lars, I'm sorry, the sun is setting in Rome, very strange thing. Okay, let's open here. And then amazing Lars said, okay, Justyna, you have this idea of yours. We are in the middle of the sprint right now, but try to do something about it. Don't worry, go for it and make it happen. So now, even if such a turn of events happens to you, it might prove to be the most amazing opportunity to find your own project. So I encourage you to not only come with your mindset, but also have your ears well open for inspiration and be daring to go for what your heart calls you for. So, yeah.
That was Great, yeah, and very nice variety of different touch points on the experiences from last year. I think very soon we'll come back to what your project really is, and it's so much more than a project. But I think everybody is keen to understand what is that really about. But I just want to highlight what you're both saying, Jabeen and Justyna, that this is really about investing yourself as well in the process. Because this is there's no shop here where you come and find the future solutions on a shelf and just pick it down. This is us creating it, or we don't, right? If we don't do something, nothing will happen. So this is what you get here as a facilitation, but each of the teams are the ones to make the magic happen. And that requires also, I think it's fair to say, quite a bit of effort. And Sanjay put a very good comment in the chat here a little early on the call, that it's important to understand there is a fair share of effort required, and some are able and interested in putting that in during this 10-week sprint, and some cannot do it for all sorts of good reasons. So I think here there's also an element of finding alignment in your team, whether we have the same ambition level, whether we can commit to the same effort, and that may not be the case, right? Some may be able to commit more than others and contribute more than others for good reasons. So that should be part of the conversation, I think, in the team before getting started. To avoid any disappointment and any misalignment. And there's plenty of opportunity to make changes in teams, to jump into another team if you feel, hey, I need to lower my ambition level because some other things happened in my life, or hey, I just lost my job, so now I can go in full time on this, or whatever may happen, right? So there's an abundance of opportunity in designing your role in this sprint. I just want that to be an offer on the table from me to anybody who wants to consider be part of this. And whether you can contribute a little or a lot, you're very welcome. And if you feel you cannot contribute enough to be in a sprint team, then there are many other roles, like as advisor or others. Jabeen, please. Yes.
Lars, I wanted to jump in. Sorry for interrupting, but about the commitment and the intention, I think it's important to, as you said, that different people are playing different roles. They're able to commit different amounts of time. The amount of time is not necessarily the value of necessarily determining the value of your contribution. Like an advisor can spend an hour with a team and give tremendous value. And then the teams, within the teams, I think it's important to understand the dynamics within your team up front, talk to each other and find out what is your level of commitment, what amount of time are you willing to spend, and what are the expectations. And if you do that ahead of time, it can avoid a lot of problems and misunderstandings and misalignments down the road. So that conversation is important to have. Even when you're selecting team members, to make sure that you're aligned in what it is that you're actually working together on, what your values are, and there are some of you who are passionate enough to want to take ownership of this from beginning to end and have a company, an EXO, an exponential organization that will actually implement this in the world. So all these intentions, all these different roles will be advanced through this process, but it's your level of commitment to taking it through and following through that can determine what kind of actual impact there is in the world. Lars, I just wanted to go back to something I had said earlier. I did say I wanted to go back and explain my role in the previous sprint. So I am the former executive director of Fast Track Institute. And Fast Track Institute, for those of you who don't know, is a sister organization of OpenEXO and EXO Works. And Lars and I come from that world from pretty much the beginning of the movement, the EXO movement. And Fast Track Institute takes the EXO Sprint and adapts it for use in a multi-stakeholder environment with cities. So we solve wicked urban challenges with cities. Fast Track Institute has done a number of different fast tracks, like things on mobility and transportation, healthcare, air quality, financial inclusion, and the justice system. We had intended to do a fast track on education in the, using the fast track methodology, a multi-stakeholder process, et cetera, et cetera. And this was happening in Medellin, Colombia. And a fast track is a huge, huge commitment. It's a complex project, getting public, private, academic partnerships together in terms of funding and involvement, working with the teams, with people from the EXO ecosystem and local team members and local universities, et cetera. It's very complex. Our education fast track ran into some challenges. And I knew that Lars had started up a group on the side of people who are passionate in solving this problem of education and learning. And we started talking about it. We said, and Lars said, I want to do an online sprint, a global open innovation sprint. So Fast Track Institute wants to pilot something like this. So we came to sponsor the first Educate for Life sprint, FTI did. And we provided resources to help set up initially, and we talked to people in Medellin who were interested in the fast track for education, and encouraged them to join the Open Innovation Sprint as a team. And in particular, we were able to get a team from UPB, which is one of the premier universities in Colombia. And a team from that university was part of the fast track, and they developed a solution. I'm sure at some point we'll hear about it. And FTI spoke to the stakeholders, the decision makers at UPB, to actually provide some cash, some monetary, some financial investment to sponsor the team to go through the fast track. And I can let Lars explain to you how that sponsorship works in detail if necessary. But the reason I explain this is that as a team, and as a team who, or as a person, as an individual who is about to gather a team to work on this initiative together, consider whether there are people who might sponsor your team through resources or access to connections or tools or a network or funding to get you dedicated resources from the EXO ecosystem, or whatever you need to actually create a solution and start to build a company that takes this into the world. So are there sponsors? Are there potential funders? Who are potential clients that you could approach up front? All this, or as you go through the process, and all of this will contribute to your success. And so I'm just encouraging you to think not just in terms of your own role and your team members, but this big, larger context of what we're operating in, and also the expertise and resources that you have access to as part of the ecosystem, the EXO advisors and consultants that are made available to you.
Jabeen, can I, I'm so sorry to have to interrupt for a moment. I'm on 8%, wasn't expecting to be in my car. I've got my 14-week-old puppies in the back. My husband's about to get in the car. We are going to transition humanity. I fall under the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact. Love this as a foundation for the 17 SDGs. We have an extraordinary storybook to be told from Canada. Canada's forgotten it. I'm seeing, you know, as much as we live in a world of abundance, the world is getting sicker, the faster, the quicker that technology and AI is sort of at the speed that they're going. We as humans more than ever need to come together to help transition to better ways. Opening day is about that. And I want to sprint opening day to using this methodology. It's a way of life. It's the way I've grown up and those around me. Those of us who are in the music and arts can't be here right now because we work around the clock next to nothing. We're there at the best of times. We're there at the worst of times. We can bring them in when need be to source them. We can use them and we can transition. We're here and I'm ready to go. But I gotta go because this is gonna cut out. And my husband, who's been on the road for almost 3 months, is standing in the cold right now outside waiting for me to let him into the car.
Yes,
and he's totally exhausted from being in Europe, working with many influencing billions of children and everyone worldwide, myself working around the clock as well to make that happen. We were just in Halifax and very excitedly we were going to be doing a 1-hour performance to 900 school children and influencers in that area, and because of the ice storm they didn't get it. So nobody stepped forward, so I brought out my iPhone and captured as much as I can. And I said, let's find a way to make it possible to be creative, put this together and get it to them. That's one of the projects. I'm a sprinter now. So who's available? Who wants to help make that happen? And let's help make that happen and get music and movement to as many in the world as possible who wouldn't otherwise get it. There's a whole Inuit Native people. It's the healers of the world are the way. And it's what we got to do. And I got to go and it's going to cut out. Oh my God.
To see you again.
Lovely to hear that you're on the next.
She cut out.
Yes, there she cut out. Okay. Jabeen, did you get to?
Yeah, I pretty much said what I was intending to say at that time, and just I in this particular sprint, I've committed to playing the role of a coach, so it's a very different perspective.
Looking forward to that, Jabeen. And you brought up some very important points about creating community around whatever it is you're trying to do. And I hear myself saying that to everybody I meet, kind of, that is going through a sprint, whatever they're trying to accomplish, whoever they work with, whatever they're trying to do, create a community around it, because that's where you find supporters. That's where you find people who understand or are willing to try to understand what you're trying to do and be part of making that happen. Without a supportive community, how could anybody succeed, right? So there is no other way. You've got to create that community. And obviously, we have our...
I just want to say on that point, I think, Lars, what you've created here is a place for that community to start to gather. So I think take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it, yeah, absolutely. That's why we have it. That's the whole point. So you're not starting from scratch with nothing, playing with no one, but you actually have a world-class community around you. They're right here, and close to 500 of us, and is the number as of today. That's pretty spectacular. So if you're not taking advantage of that and you want to be part of changing education, shame on you. Enjoy the opportunity, take it, come do it. And another key learning, and then I want to hear more about Zen Masters, but another key learning that I'm very keen to see everybody in sprints acquire and take on is the fact that they have to make things happen. They're the ones to make things happen. So we all kind of startups in that aspect. We all entrepreneurs. We're taking responsibility of a huge challenge out there that we want to solve. We want to find a way to do it. And we are going to have ups and downs, and we are going to be set back again and again and again, and fail and fail and fail and fail. And sometimes I have people, not in this community, fortunately, but people saying, hey, give me some money and give me some resources so I can make it happen. But that's just not how it works, right? Because you could invest a lot of money in things that cannot work. So this is why we have the sprint process that was actually designed to experiment our way to validation of these crazy ideas we have before we even have to invest anything in them. Once we have validated these crazy ideas, it becomes so much more interesting for others to invest in them, either some time or resources or money, like Jabeen and Fast Track Institute has done, and this fantastic university in Colombia that was part of sponsoring us last year, and others that are coming on board. I have very interesting news to share very soon. We are creating a movement here that allows us to ride a wave. At least it's not going to be easy, but we have each other, and everybody in this community are out of this world extraordinary people, whatever it is you're all doing so well. So that's just also a recommendation to, hey, take responsibility for yourself and what you want to do, put in the effort, and then we'll give you everything we possibly can in terms of support. I mean, around the clock, and we have so many coaches ready to donate time to you, give you that precious time, and they can earn a lot of money, I tell you, if they spend the time on a commercial project, but they say, hey, I want to be part of this and help these teams. So take advantage of it. This is the opportunity. All right, so Justyna, I'm so keen to hear more about Zen Masters, and many of this call have not heard a lot about Zen Masters. Give us just a brief background on it, and I'm very keen to understand where Zen Masters are at today, and also what are the plans, and how can we help Zen Masters?
So let me go chronologically, briefly, but chronologically. Last spring, while the sprint was already in motion, I went to a Lego Foundation's Lego Idea Conference where an Ashoka a scholar was talking about the urgency of taking care of the mental health in children, which has already been something that has resonated a lot in me, as I am a psychologist and a Montessori educator. This is something that I have observed in the Montessori classrooms that I've worked in. And as I came back, I spoke about it to Lars, who said, okay, so let's build a group around the idea of, and the idea is, of writing a book for children that would address three subjects that we adults are very familiar with, that is self-regulation, mindfulness, and nonviolent communication. This knowledge is there, it's out there, it's within our reach, and it is still delivered very poorly to actually the most important recipients, young brains that are still in the process of development. And therefore I thought, okay, this is something that I can work on, and this is something that I have developed during the sprint. Now, fast forward a couple of months, I have built up the book that I designed during the sprint, which was meant to be a very brief, very systematic kind of nonfiction, neurological nonfiction for teens and tweens. And I have tested it on those teens and tweens that mostly yawned. So what happened? I didn't treat it as a failure. I treated it as an opportunity to, right now I should put some bells and fanfares, to use it as an activity book that will follow a fiction. And ever since, I quickly trained myself in creative writing. I didn't train myself on out of thin air, because my background is humanities, and in the past I've been winning scholarships to at schools, universities on my literary work. So, but still, I had to quickly get trained in aspects of how to write an attractive fiction that would actually sell to middle graders. And I did alongside with writing it. So my three characters, Alex, who has some issues with anger, maybe some issues with ADHD. He himself sometimes mentions it. Is going to explore a very brainy area of self-regulation in a very fictional area of a game, actual video game, in which he is swept in along with his little brother Leo, who is a perfectionist. If you read Leo, it's like if you read the Leo chapters or Leo paragraphs, it's like reading Wikipedia. And Leo will have to learn that through mindfulness, he will start with really exploring his favorite subject. So he will explore the brain from a very neurological perspective, but his challenge is to understand that that the left hemisphere is not left hemisphere of the brain is not a success factor if you really want to overcome the obstacles that he will encounter during the course of the story. So this is his challenge. At his critical point, he will learn to integrate the right hemisphere as well. And this, I think, is very important in the if we read ourselves, adults, if we read, once we learn what is the difference between us and the robots in the future, that's it. We have soul. We make our emotional decisions, while robots would go with the algorithms. So I think that Leo's message is going to resonate very strongly in this direction as well. And finally, we have Lola, who will go with the nonviolent communication flow. She will each of the protagonists will collect beads, will collect competence beads. So she will collect the competence beads of naming needs and emotions, being a very emotional girl, experiencing very strong emotional changes. She's one day she's depressed, and then the next minute she's joyful and jumpy. This is something that she will realize, she will learn, and her way will be the softer. She will have the softest challenges in the book, but at the end, what happens is that, and this again goes to what we as humans have as an advantage over the robots. They will have to realize that they have to work together in order to get back out of the video game and get back to their mom, who was very angry when they decided not to follow her direction to quit playing the video game. So they will realize that they have to cooperate, and they will get back home at the end. And in the end, they will get out of the Dragon's World game, back to the analog world, and they will go out and play outside. So I have incorporated the topics of digital wellness as well into the book. And the book that I have designed last year will be the activity book that will follow up the fiction that is right now in writing. So I am so happy when I talk about Zen Masters. That I think that you can see my eyes shining. It's an amazing adventure, and it's really great to see how much I'm progressing with the work when testing it with the kids. because as I was saying in the beginning, the book that I have prepared was kind of young, triggering, and right now I'm getting more and more exciting comments, and the guys are giving me their ideas, sharing their ideas, and I think it's going in the direction that will bring yeah, an exciting thing that the market needs and will change lives, empowering the kids to become masters of their inner states.
That's exactly it. It will change a lot of lives. I'm as passionate about it and as much in love with the project as you are. So it's fantastic to see it keep evolving and keep working its way out there. It's only when it gets into the hands of our kids and parents that the magic begins, right? But all the hard work you put in, because it's a passion project, is just a fantastic example of what I hope for everybody, that they find their passion project in life and begin the long journey of working on it. We all need that kind of passion project, whatever we are passionate about. And you're doing it, Justyna, so you're a huge inspiration. I'm so happy to have you to just share a little bit today about what it's about. But you have a website and you have quite a lot and social media channels and all of that. So so looking forward to be part of the next steps on this journey. And Justyna will be very close to us all in the coming many weeks here, and I know we're going to work closely together on so many things, on the Planet Pilot thing that is my passion project, and the Zen Masters, and probably a lot of other things as well. So Justyna, enjoy Rome, and speak to her again very, very soon. But thank you so much for spending an hour here with us today, Justyna and Jabeen. Just in the last minute here, are there any questions to these fantastic ladies here that have so much to share with us? Any questions? We'll wrap. There's a lot of exciting comments to both of you in the chat here. Worth studying, definitely. All right. I can see also as the timekeeper that my timer shows that we're getting to the end of the hour. And an important part of a sprint is really that we only give ourselves limited time to experiment with certain ideas. We could go on and on and on and burning the midnight oil for years and not really getting anywhere. So we need to really validate our hypothesis within this limited time that we give ourselves. And that's the point of the sprint, that we're not giving ourselves 2 years. We give ourselves 10 weeks to accomplish as much as we can in terms of validating our assumptions, our hypotheses, and try out our ideas on somebody who is intended to be the audience, get the feedback and learn from it, and do this as many times as we can during these 10 weeks. So that is what we are going to accomplish. That's why it requires a bit of effort to get something out of this. But I want to make this a fun and amazing experience. So I can live up to the amazing opening by Jabeen, saying this is going to be amazing. I will certainly do everything that I possibly can to make it an amazing experience, and I know you will as well. So we are at the top of the hour, and you have to go. Yeah, beep, beep, beep. So everybody probably needs to move on to the next activity of today. Thank you, Jabeen and Justyna, for being here and
thank you, Lars.
Experience. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I'll share the recording, and I look very much forward to see you in the many, many sessions that we have in front of us.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Lars.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Carmen. Bye. Nick, Sanjay, Diana, Crystal. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.